Hari Om Yoga Warriors, Mickey Space here. So today I'm here to have a little chat with you about routine. So this is something that I'm sure has probably come up for you, and particularly at this time, so valid for any time, setting up a routine in our lives is useful in many ways, but particularly this time with this new situation with the pandemic that's happening, setting ourselves up with a good routine is really useful for our own mental health and physical, mental, spiritual health. So what I'd like to talk to you about is something that I sometimes bring up on retreats in discussion, is following the chi cycle. So this is something that I touched on when I studied shiatsu and Chinese medicine. And there's a fellow called Joss Soa who's an interesting fellow, and he's written a couple of books, and one of them's called The Perfect Day, and it's essentially revolved around a routine based on the chi cycle. So that's what I'd like to discuss with you today. While I have my cuppa. So I've got here with me just found it recently, like a chart that Jost has written up, which illustrates it really well. So I'll add a link so you can download this chart yourself and check it out. But I'll go through it essentially to work through this idea. So the idea is that the chi, or our energy, moves through our different organs in our body. And in Chinese medicine, it's not just the organs in the body, but the meridians that run from the organ throughout the body. And each meridian has a different energy. Each organ or meridian of that organ has a different energy. And if we can tune into the energy when it's most prevalent in that particular organ, then that's a way that we can ride a wave more successfully. So it's you can see this like all these energies as waves, and like a surfer riding the wave rather than trying to battle against the wave. So it's about understanding or tuning in to what that energy is at the particular time of day. So we work on certain tasks, certain activities at a specific time of the day in accordance to when that energy is most prevalent. So it really makes quite a lot of sense if you think about it. So these cycles are split up into 2-hour cycles. Now, I'll run through this, and of course, not that we have to be absolutely religious about it either. Everyone's unique, everyone's individual, so if it says to get up at 5 a.m, if that's not for you, then there's not like you have to do that to be extremely healthy. But it's just a guideline, and then maybe we can all make up our own routine according to our own needs, our own desires, our own feelings. But a good guideline, because it does focus on those different time slots and what's happening. So here we go. So the first section is from the time of 5 to 7 a.m. So that's our first organ, which is the large intestine. So large intestine, most prevalent, the energy between 5 and 7 a.m. So this is the time that we should be getting up, ideally, in this ideal chi cycle world, moving, doing our exercise, doing our yoga, doing our tai chi, maybe our meditation. This is the time to kickstart the day, to set our intentions. So if we do that, if we exercise, do our meditation, do our yoga, tai chi, whatever your choice is, this creates optimism, positivity, and possibility. That's one of the positive, energies of the large intestine when we're riding the wave with it. So you will feel energized and in charge of your life. On the flip side, these are the don'ts. If we sleep in, if we overthink at this time, if we get up and get straight onto our social media, if we take our stimulants at this time, 5 to 7, or even apparently if we have sex at this time, then that's going to have kind of like the opposite effect. These are the sort of don'ts. It will create lethargy, sadness, worry, depression, guilt, and self-criticism. And you will feel moody and directionless. So as you can see, 5 to 7, a great time to get up and do our practice. 7 to 9 a.m., that's the stomach time. So that's when the chi, or the prana. So I'm talking about chi here because chi is from that Chinese medicine perspective, but chi, prana, same thing, just different expression, different tradition. So 7 to 9 a.m. is stomach time. And I mean, think about it. What's the stomach? What's its main purpose? We all know the stomach is there to take in the food. So from that Chinese medicine perspective, it's actually the most important time of the day to eat your first meal. So what does he say, Joss? He says, sit down and eat breakfast calmly and get the workday started. So this creates clarity, confidence, emotional and physical resilience, and a lean body. And we feel supported if we act upon this. So the don'ts here are to skip breakfast, which is quite common in our sort of busy lifestyles. We're off to work. Oh, well, bugger breakfast. I'll just head to work and eat something later on, and then you're grabbing that coffee because you haven't got the energy yet, and then by 1 o'clock you're crashing. So, but instead, if you've got that breakfast in early, so something, it doesn't have to be a huge meal either, but ideally something nutritious. But getting in line with the stomach, so it's absorbing all those nutrients and setting you up for the day. So don't skip breakfast. Don't eat standing or rushing around, or with social media, news, or TV. And don't drink coffee before your food. So this creates tiredness, depression, weight gain, bloating, testosterone decline, and hormonal imbalances if we do all of this, skip the breakfast or eat standing, have lots of coffee before our food, get straight onto our social media watching TV, and we will feel overwhelmed. So we really rather be in that supportive energy when we've done the right things. So a good time also, 7 to 9, it's not like we've got that whole 2 hours just to eat breakfast. It's also then a good time to start our work day. So get into our projects, whatever they might be. So 9 to 11 is the spleen time. Spleen is really, it's the time to work really hard. Work hard in our chosen work life. So prioritize your tasks, interact, establish boundaries. So this creates efficiency and productivity. So this is the time when you're into that work power mode. You will feel progress if you step in and ride the wave of the spleen at this time. So don't wait for inspiration at this time. Don't distract yourself with the old electronic devices. It's kind of almost suggesting never to get on the electronic devices, but don't fret, there will be a time for that. Because this creates despondency, procrastination, and OCD patterns. And you will feel stuck. So again, to ride the wave, we want to feel the progress. So just working hard, making sure we're prioritizing our tasks and establishing our boundaries. We come to then 11 to 1, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's the heart space. So here it's still a case of working hard, but this is time for the visionary thinking and the most important things. So this creates inspiration and empowerment. And riding this wave, you will feel like your life is great. So what you don't want to do is the unimportant stuff. You don't want to waste time. You don't want to chill out either at this time. Although towards the end of it you can, because that's lunchtime. So that creates meaningless and purposelessness if you don't. If you do the don'ts, the unimportant stuff. If you're wasting time. And you'll end up feeling like you hate life. So we want to ride the wave of the hard time and feel like life is great. 1 to 3 is small intestine time, and now it's time to take a break. So here it's time to chill a little, enjoy your lunch, enjoy, again, a healthy meal, ideally. You could do this in company if you like, with friends, workmates, work colleagues. Do your easy work at this time and trust your gut feelings of what you're meant to be doing at this time. So this is a time that will create joy and happiness if we follow these steps. And the feeling of riding the small intestine wave is satisfaction, feeling satisfied. So what we don't want to do is skip lunch again. Always want to have that meal at the right time. We don't want to eat while we're working, and we don't want to really be doing our important work at this time. That should have been done earlier. Because that creates erratic, manic behavior, anxiety and depression. That moment, oh, it's coming to lunch, I've got to get all this work done, and we all get really flustered and crazy. We should have done that by 1 o'clock, not during that 1 to 3 time. And so we'll feel mental instability if we're on the don'ts rather than the do's. So we want to ride the wave of satisfaction, small intestine. 3 to 5 p.m., that's our bladder time. So bladder time is the time to do the less important and less taxing tasks. So still some work if that's a working day for you. We're talking about a 9 to 5 day of work here, which is for most of us, that's our sort of work time. So we can definitely work this energy into your working day. But here's the time ideally to do the less important and less taxing tasks. And here is a time for social media. So this is the ideal social media time, 3 to 5 p.m. This is in our bladder time. And this creates trust, inner strength, and the backbone. And we will feel that we're in the flow of life, riding the wave of the bladder. So what we don't want to do is push ourselves, work hard at this time, do anything that's stressful. This will create resentment, jealousy, and sugar cravings. We're reaching for that biscuit at 3 p.m. because we're stressed out. Then you will feel that sudden energy crash at 3:30. So we ideally don't want to have that energy crash. We want to be riding that wave of bladder in flow with life. 5 to 7 p.m. This is the time we're in the kidneys. So the kidneys, they kind of are the storehouse of our jing, our kind of latent energy. So this is a time, again, to, we did some of that early morning yoga or meditation practice or exercise, but this is another opportunity for exercise. Yeah, we do see that. People go to the gym and whatnot, or yoga class after work, 5 to 7, and it is a good time for that. So it's time to stop work. I suggest to play your sport, go on a bike ride, go to the gym, do your yoga, your Tai Chi, your martial arts, your dance class, whatever it might be. I also believe Josh suggests it's the best time for sexual activity between 5 to 7 p.m. You're in time with that kidney energy then. This will create emotional resilience, a better drive, enthusiasm and willpower. And you will feel happy if you're riding the wave of the kidneys. So you don't want to work hard at this time. You don't want to create stress. Work hard as in mentally. I mean, you could do a little work out hard, but not mentally. Because this will create mental and emotional weakness, dizziness and low libido. So you'll feel agitated and irritable. So we're on to 7 to 9 p.m. now. That's the pericardium. What we do want to do between 7 to 9 is, now this is chill time, chill out. Relationship bonding, spend time with your family, with your loved ones. Dinner, have a nice dinner with your family, with your loved ones. If you want to watch TV or movie, this is the time. And it's a time to tap into your creativity too. 7 to 9 p.m. it's time to get out the paintbrushes, the coloured pencils, play some music, whatever creative juices are flowing through you. That's riding the wave of creativity, 7 to 9 p.m. And so this will create contentment and inner peace if we're working with that energy, and we will feel nurtured. So it's also a nice time for our yin sessions. Working yin at this time is kind of that chill out time. What we don't want to do is argue or fight at this time. We don't want to stress again. We don't want to work, really. Work is done by 5, really. This will create depression, anxiety, and insomnia if we're doing that. And you'll feel lonely. And so pericardium, 7 to 9 p.m. We want to feel nurtured by riding the pericardium wave. We don't want to feel lonely. 9 till 11 p.m. Sanjiao. Sanjiao is this other sort of odd channel, meridian. But basically, between 9 and 11 p.m., this is the time to go to bed, essentially, go to sleep. So we turn off our devices and we go to bed. I mean, you've got that window between 9 and 11. Ideally, by 11, we want to be in bed from that chi cycle perspective. So, turn off your devices, head to bed, read a book. Maybe you're finishing off your creative projects, having a bath, doing all your going to bed activities. So this will create bliss and you'll feel spiritual. We don't want to study, work. We don't want to have alcohol or coffee, stimulants, sugar or dinner between 9 and 11. This will create exhaustion, insomnia, CFS patterns and an identity crisis. We'll feel like a lost soul if we're up late, drinking coffee, not the ideal rhythm. Yeah, of course, sometimes on the weekends things might change a little, but for our regular cycle, 9 to 11, there's our bedtime. So the next few is really during our sleep times, the next couple of cycles. But if we go into detail and really what would happen if we were awake during those times, so between 11 to 1 a.m. we're in the gallbladder meridian. Essentially, all we need to do is sleep during this time. And the gallbladder meridian, if we're in tune with that, it creates courage to be ourselves and follow our dreams. And we feel like we can do anything if our gallbladder meridian is in check. But if we don't, if we're, let's say, eating between 11 to 1, if we're awake, checking our phone, This is going to create cynicism and endless excuses, and we'll feel our dreams are impossible to achieve if we're not riding the gallbladder meridian wavelength. 1 to 3 a.m. is, we're in the liver here. So in liver time, again, I mean, obviously, I don't think many of us are awake at that time, 1 to 3 a.m. Definitely sleep. That creates purpose and direction in life. And we'll feel rejuvenated as long as we're well asleep in those times. What we don't want to do, again, is be eating at that time. We don't want to be awake, checking our phone. Not a time for relationship discussions. Definitely not. So that would create confusion, anger, and stagnation, and we would feel toxic. And 3 to 5 a.m., the final chapter here, is we're in the lung time. So actually, traditionally, if you ever go on a meditation retreat, say with the Buddhist monks, they're actually up at that time doing their early morning breathing. The lungs are the organ of the breath, so it is a good time to actually work with your meditation or your pranayama practice if you're willing to get up a little earlier. So what we do want to do is either be sleeping, ideally getting up around near 5 a.m. to breathe, to meditate, to do our chi exercise. This creates control, spiritual nurture, and inner values. And we will feel in touch with our soul. What we don't want to be doing is anything except sleep, meditation, or chi practice. Anything else would create separation from our soul purpose. So that's the full cycle, all 24 hours of the day, based into 12 sections, 2-hour blocks. So consider how you can try and incorporate some of those energies into your life, or how you can resolve your life around your rhythm, your patterns, create a cycle that is in tune with the energy of nature, essentially. It's the energy of nature that moves through us. The chi, the prana, is the energy of nature moving through us, through our different organs, having these various qualities at different times of the day. Like we step outside, we can see, we can feel different times of the day. There's different things happening out in nature. And so, we're very detached these days from our natural rhythms, and that's part of our evolution as conscious souls to start to become more in tune with nature and within the nature within us. So, as suggested, I'll post a little link to this lovely little chart, which you can download, and enjoy your rhythm. Thank you very much.